Did you know that right now there's a divine message waiting to reach you, Aquarius? What if I told you that the universe has 8 specific messages reserved just for those born under the sign of Aquarius? And that these words can completely change the course of your life. Yes, you heard right. 8 powerful messages straight from the divine source, prepared especially for your heart. And today you're going to discover each one of them. Do you know that feeling that something is missing? That restlessness that won't leave you in peace, even when everything seems to be going well? That voice deep inside telling you that you were born for something greater? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. Because God didn't create you by chance. Every characteristic of yours, every dream you carry, every struggle you face, everything has a divine purpose. And these 8 messages will reveal exactly what that purpose is. Have you ever noticed how sometimes it feels like you're swimming against the current? As if the world doesn't understand your unique way of being and thinking? As if people can't keep up with the speed of your thoughts and the depth of your ideas? My dear Aquarian, this is not a flaw. This is divine design. And the time has come for you to understand what the heavens have been trying to tell you through every challenge, every victory, every moment of solitude, and every instant of true connection. In this video, you won't find empty promises or pretty words without meaning. You will receive direct, clear, and powerful messages that will resonate with your soul. Messages that will explain why you feel what you feel, why you act the way you act, and most importantly, what the greater plan being prepared for you is. If you stay until the end, you will discover which of these 8 messages is exactly what your heart needs to hear at this moment in your life. And I can guarantee you, this revelation will make you see everything with new eyes. Message 1. Your distinguishing feature is your divine mission. Aquarius, the first message God wants you to hear today is about that unique essence of yours that makes you question whether you're in the right place. You know when you look around and realize you think differently, act differently, dream differently? When you feel like you've arrived from another planet, and nobody speaks your language? Well, the time has come for you to understand that this is not a problem to be solved. This is your greatest blessing. This is the sign that you have been chosen for a special mission. God made you an Aquarius because the world needs someone who sees beyond the obvious. It needs someone who isn't content with ready-made answers, with already trodden paths, with truths that everyone accepts without question. The universe needs revolutionaries for good, people who look at what is broken and say, "This can be better." And that's exactly why you were born. Every time you question the system, every time you propose an innovative solution, every time you refuse to follow the herd, you are fulfilling your divine purpose. But here's the part that many Aquarians don't understand, and that's why they suffer so much. This mission of being different comes at a price. And that price is loneliness. It's not being understood by the majority. It's having ideas that take years to be accepted. It's proposing changes that people resist because they're afraid of the new. It's feeling like you're always a few steps ahead. And when others finally reach where you were, you've already moved on to another place. God knows this hurts. He sees every time you feel lonely in the middle of a crowd. Every time you keep your thoughts to yourself because you know no one will understand. Every time you question whether it's worth being so different. And that's precisely why this message needs to reach you today. Because God wants you to know that this feeling of not completely belonging anywhere is not a flaw of yours. It's the mark of those chosen to change the world. Think about it. If you thought like everyone else, if you were content with the same things that content the masses, if you didn't have this constant restlessness to do things better, how could you bring something new to the world? How could you be an agent of transformation? Heaven gave you the gift of seeing possibilities where others see impossibilities. It gave you the courage to question what everyone else accepts. It gave you the strength to swim against the current when necessary. And yes, this cost you friendships. It cost you being called weird, complicated, head in the clouds. It cost you sleepless nights wondering if there's something wrong with you. But now, at this moment, you need to understand that there's nothing wrong. You are exactly as you should be. Your uniqueness is not a flaw to be corrected. It's a mission to be embraced. God is telling you today to stop trying to fit in where you were never meant to fit. To stop dimming your light so that others don't feel overshadowed. To stop hiding your revolutionary ideas for fear of judgment. Because while you hide, the world loses. While you try to be ordinary, humanity becomes poorer. Your difference isn't about you. It's about all those who will benefit when you finally accept who you are and begin to act accordingly. And here's the secret that will change everything for you. When you accept that you were made to be different, When you stop fighting against your own nature and start working with it, that's when doors begin to open. That's when you attract the right people. That's when perfect opportunities appear. Because God won't waste your potential. He was just waiting for you to accept the calling. Message 2. Your brilliant mind needs divine rest. Aquarius, pay close attention now because this second message may be the most important for the moment you are living. God looks at you and sees an extraordinary mind. He sees thoughts racing at breakneck speed. He sees ideas connecting in ways that no one else can keep up with. He sees you processing information on multiple levels at the same time. And he is proud of that. But he also sees the price you are paying for not knowing how to turn off this incredible machine that is your brain. You have the gift of thinking. Not that superficial thinking that everyone else has. You think deeply. You analyze. You question. You connect dots that are miles apart. Your brain is like a powerful computer that always has 50 tabs open at the same time. And therein lies your genius. But therein also lies your greatest challenge. Because, my dear Aquarian, even the most powerful computers need to be turned off from time to time. And you, when was the last time you truly turned off that restless mind? God is telling you today that the time has come for you to learn the difference between productive thinking and destructive thinking. Because yes, there is a fine line between using your mental gift to create solutions and using it to create prisons. How many nights have you spent awake solving problems that don't even exist yet? How many times have you created catastrophic scenarios in your head about things that will probably never happen? How many hours have you wasted analyzing and reanalyzing situations that have already passed and can no longer be changed? This is the dark side of your gift. And God knows it. He knows that the same mind that allows you to see the future and create incredible things can also trap you in endless cycles of worry and anxiety. He knows you have this tendency to live more in your head than in the present moment. That you spend so much time thinking about life that sometimes you forget to actually live it. And that, my dear, was not part of God's plan for you. When God gave you that brilliant mind, He also created something called faith. And faith isn't about stopping thinking. Faith is about knowing when it's time to surrender. It's about recognizing that not everything needs to be solved by your intellect. It's about understanding that there are things beyond human control, and that it's okay not to have all the answers. It's about trusting that while you rest, God continues working. You know that saying, God never sleeps? Well, He doesn't sleep precisely so that you can sleep. He doesn't stop caring for you so that you can stop trying to control everything with the power of your thoughts. But how will you experience this divine rest if you don't let go of control? How will you feel the peace that surpasses all understanding if you insist on trying to understand everything? God's message for you today is clear. Your mind is a gift, not a curse. But like any gift, it needs to be used correctly. And the correct way includes pauses. It includes moments of mental silence. It includes leaving some questions unanswered for a while. It includes accepting that you don't need to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. It includes trusting that the universe is intelligent enough to keep turning, even when you're not trying to control every detail. You need to understand that resting your mind is not laziness. It's wisdom. It's not weakness. It's strength. It's not giving up. It's trusting. And that trust is exactly what God wants to develop in you now. Because only when you learn to rest in the divine presence do you truly discover who you are beyond your thoughts. Message 5. Your need for freedom is sacred. Now let's talk about something that lies at the deepest core of your being. Aquarius. Your absolute need for freedom. And I'm not just talking about physical freedom, the ability to come and go. I'm talking about freedom in every sense. Freedom of thought. Freedom of expression. Freedom to choose your own path. Freedom to be who you are without having to ask permission or explanation from anyone. This need is so strong in you that it sometimes even frightens you. You prefer to be alone than to feel trapped. You prefer to lose relationships than to lose your autonomy. And many people don't understand this. They call you rebellious, stubborn, incapable of commitment. But God understands perfectly. And today He wants to tell you why He planted this love for freedom so deeply in your soul. The truth is that God created you in His image and likeness. And one of the most striking characteristics of the divine is freedom. God doesn't force anyone to do anything. He doesn't control. He doesn't manipulate. He offers paths but lets you choose. He opens doors but you decide whether to enter. He invites you but respects your refusal. This is the essence of divine freedom. And it was this essence that he placed in you with special intensity. Because he needs people who understand the value of freedom not only for themselves but for everyone. You were made to fight against everything that imprisons, against systems that oppress, against relationships that suffocate, against jobs that kill the soul, against societies that try to fit everyone into a box. You were made to break chains, to tear down walls, to open cages, to show people that there are other possibilities beyond those they have been conditioned to accept. And for that very reason you cannot be imprisoned. How will you liberate others if you yourself are not free? But here's where many Aquarians get confused. And it's important that you pay attention to this. There's a huge difference between being free and being afraid of commitment, between valuing your independence and being afraid of intimacy, between not accepting confinement and not accepting any kind of bond. Because the problem is that sometimes, in your eagerness to protect your freedom, you end up depriving yourself of deep connections that could enrich you. I'm going to tell you something that perhaps no one has told you before. True love doesn't imprison. Healthy commitment doesn't limit. Mature bonds don't suffocate. On the contrary, when you find the right people, when you build relationships based on mutual respect, you discover that it's possible to have freedom and connection at the same time. It's possible to have commitment and autonomy at the same time. It's possible to belong to someone without ceasing to belong to yourself. What God is trying to show you is that you don't have to choose between being free and having people in your life. You don't have to choose between following your dreams and having deep relationships. You don't have to choose between being yourself and having a family, a partnership, a community. What you need is to find people who understand and respect your need for space, who don't see your independence as rejection, who don't try to change or control you, who love you exactly as you are, including your need for freedom. And here's the big revelation. These people exist, but you'll only attract them when you stop believing that everyone wants to hold you back. When you stop building walls before even giving people a chance to show who they are. When you stop running away at the first sign of proximity for fear of losing your freedom. Because sometimes, my dear Aquarian, you yourself create the prisons you so desperately try to escape from. Mental prisons. Emotional prisons. Prisons based on past fears and traumas. God is calling you today to a deeper freedom. The freedom to be vulnerable without feeling weak. The freedom to commit without feeling trapped. The freedom to trust without losing your essence. The freedom to love without fear of losing yourself. Because that is true freedom. It's not about running away from everything and everyone. It's not about never getting attached. It's not about living like an island. True freedom is having the wisdom to know what is good for you and the courage to embrace it, even if it seems scary. Message 6. Your vision of the future is a prophetic gift. Have you ever noticed how you can see things that don't yet exist? How you have ideas that seem years ahead of their time? How you talk about possibilities and people look at you as if you're crazy, but years later the same things you talked about start to become reality. Aquarius, this isn't luck. This isn't a fertile imagination. This is a prophetic gift that God has placed in you. And today you need to understand the magnitude of this gift and the responsibility that comes with it. God gave you eyes to see beyond the present. He gave you the ability to see potentials that have not yet manifested, to imagine futures that have not yet been born, to visualize solutions to problems that most people haven't even realized exist. This is one of the reasons why you often feel out of place in time, because you don't live completely in the now. Part of you is always a few years, sometimes decades ahead. And that makes you a visionary, a pioneer, someone who opens paths for others to follow. But here's the challenge. Being a visionary in a world that lives in the present is extremely frustrating. Because you clearly see what could be, while people are stuck in what is. You propose revolutionary changes and encounter resistance. You present innovative ideas and are called an idealist. You talk about the future and are told to keep your feet on the ground. And that hurts. Because you know you're right. You know what you see will happen. But the timing isn't yours. And learning to deal with that is one of the greatest lessons of your life. God is telling you today that your gift is not to be hidden. It is not to be diminished because people are not ready to hear it. But it is also not to be imposed. Because everything has its time. Every seed has its germination period. And sometimes your only function is to plant ideas, to plant possibilities, to plant seeds of change, and then trust that in due time they will sprout. Even if you are not there to see the harvest, even if someone else takes the credit, even if no one remembers that you were the first to speak about it. And you know what's interesting? History is full of Aquarians and people with Aquarian energy who were ridiculed in their time but revered later. Inventors who were called crazy, artists who were rejected, thinkers who were persecuted, revolutionaries who were misunderstood. But in the end, time showed that they were right, that they saw what others couldn't see, that they had the courage to believe in the impossible. And you are in that same lineage. You carry that same gift. And one day, maybe not now, but one day, people will look back and thank you for having the courage to see beyond. But here's something important you need to integrate. Having a vision for the future doesn't mean ignoring the present. It doesn't mean living only on dreams and doing nothing practical. It doesn't mean floating in the clouds while life passes you by. On the contrary, your gift of seeing the future should inspire you to act in the present. It should give you direction. It should motivate you to take the necessary steps today to build the tomorrow you envision. Because vision without action is just fantasy. But vision with action is creation. It's manifestation. It's transforming the invisible into visible, the imaginary into real, the potential into concrete. God is giving you this message today because He wants you to trust your vision more. He wants you to stop doubting your intuition about the future, just because others can't see what you see. He wants you to have the courage to act based on what you know is coming, even when it doesn't make sense to anyone else. Because you weren't made to follow the herd. You were made to guide, to lead, to show the way. And how can you do that if you don't trust your own vision? So today you're going to make a choice. You're going to choose to honor this gift that God gave you. You're going to choose to trust your intuition about the future more. You're going to choose to act based on your vision, even when others call you crazy. Because when you do that, when you act in alignment with what you know deep down to be true, you become a co-creator with God. You become an instrument of the divine will. You become someone who not only foresees the future, but actively participates in its creation. Message 7. Your friendships are your spiritual treasure. Here's something about you that perhaps no one has told you with this clarity. For you, friendship isn't something casual. It's not about having many people around. It's not about popularity or quantity. For you, friendship is one of the most sacred things in life. And God sees that. God sees how you value these true connections, how loyal you are to your friends in a way that's almost impossible to find these days, how you treat friendship as a commitment as serious as any other in life. The truth is, you often value your friendships more than your romantic relationships. And that confuses a lot of people. But it makes perfect sense when you understand your nature. Because in friendship you find something precious. You find connection without possession. You find love without dependence. You find intimacy without losing freedom. You find commitment without imprisonment. And that, for an Aquarian, is paradise. It's the purest form of relationship. God made you this way because He needed someone who understood the value of brotherhood, of community, of the collective. He needed someone who didn't see people as stepping stones to climb, but as companions on the journey. He needed someone who truly believed that together we are stronger. That alone we can do something, but united we can change the world. And you carry this truth in your heart in a very special way. But here's something you might need to hear. Not everyone will value you as much as you do. Not everyone will be as loyal as you are. Not everyone will treat friendship with the seriousness you do. And that will hurt you. It has hurt you many times. Because when you give your friendship, you give it wholeheartedly. You give it deeply. You give expecting reciprocity. And when you don't receive it, when you realize that what was so important to you wasn't so important to the other person, it hurts deeply. God is telling you today that it's okay to be selective. It's okay to have few true friends instead of many superficial acquaintances. It's okay to prefer quality over quantity. Because what matters isn't how many people you have in your life. What matters is that those people are genuine. That they are loyal, that they value you as much as you value them, that they understand the honor of having the friendship of an Aquarian. Because you don't give that to just anyone. And whoever receives it should know they've gained something precious. And there's something else important. You need to learn to forgive when people disappoint you. Because they will disappoint you. Not because they are bad, but because they are human. Because not everyone has the same capacity for loyalty that you have. Because sometimes people are dealing with their own battles and can't be the friend you need at that moment. And you, with your very high standards of friendship, sometimes get so hurt that you cut people out of your life completely. But God is reminding you that mercy is also part of love. That understanding is also part of friendship. That giving second chances when appropriate is also important. This doesn't mean accepting abuse. It doesn't mean allowing yourself to be walked all over. But it means understanding that we are all imperfect. That we all make mistakes. That we all sometimes fail those we love. And that forgiveness, when sincere, can strengthen a friendship instead of weakening it. The divine message today is about balancing expectation and reality. It's about continuing to value friendship as you always have, but without being destroyed when people don't reciprocate. It's about continuing to be loyal, but protecting your heart. It's about continuing to believe in true connections, but being wise about who you allow into your inner circle. Because your true friends are one of your greatest treasures in this life. And when you find those rare people who understand you, who value you, who walk beside you, you become one of the most incredible friends anyone could have. Message 8. Your time to shine is coming. And we've reached the final message, Aquarius. And this is perhaps the one you most needed to hear today. After everything we've discussed, after understanding your gifts and your challenges, after recognizing who you truly are, the time has come for you to hear this. Your moment is arriving. That which you have been waiting for. That which you have been working towards. That which you have been dreaming of. It is coming. And God wants you to know this so that you can prepare yourself. You went through a desert. You went through a period where it seemed like nothing worked. Where your ideas weren't heard. Where your brilliance was dimmed. Where you felt invisible despite having so much to offer. And there were moments when you doubted yourself. Moments when you thought about giving up. Moments when you wondered if it was really worth continuing to be yourself, continuing to believe, continuing to try. But you didn't give up. And that says everything about you. That shows the strength that exists within you. That proves you were made for great things. And now, after all this time, after all this preparation, after all these lessons, you are about to enter a new phase. A phase where your ideas will be valued. Where your work will be recognized. Where your contributions will make a real difference. Where doors that were closed will open. Where the opportunities you've been waiting for will appear. Where the right people will cross your path. And you need to be ready. Not only externally but internally. Because here is the truth. Everything you went through was not in vain. Every rejection taught you something. Every failure strengthened you. Every moment of solitude prepared you. Every time you chose to continue despite everything, you were building the version of yourself that is ready for what comes next. God was not punishing you. He was preparing you. He was molding you. He was removing everything that was not essential so that your true self could emerge. And now you are different, stronger, wiser, more prepared, more confident, more aligned with your purpose. And that's exactly why things are going to start changing. Because you are ready. Because you did the necessary inner work. Because you learned the lessons you needed to learn. Because you became the person you need to be to hold on to the blessings that are coming. But God is giving you an important warning. When things start to happen, don't let success go to your head. Don't forget where you came from. Don't abandon the values that brought you here. Don't become arrogant or distant. Because the purpose of your success isn't just for you to shine. It's for you to light the way for others. It's for you to use your platform to make a difference. It's for you to be an example that it's possible to maintain integrity and still be successful. So while you wait for this new phase to arrive, keep doing what you've been doing. Keep being true to yourself. Keep working. Keep believing. Keep preparing. Because when the opportunity comes, you won't have time to prepare. You need to be ready now. And you are. Maybe you don't realize it yet, but you are. All this time you've been preparing for this moment. And now it's just a matter of time until everything starts to align. Wow, what a journey we've had together today, haven't we? 8 powerful messages straight from God to your Aquarian heart. And now I want to hear from you. Which of these messages touched your soul the deepest? Which one made you feel like it was written especially for you? Leave a comment below. I read each one and I love knowing how these words are impacting the lives of real people. And now I need to tell you something very important. If you've made it this far, if you've listened to these 8 messages to the end, it wasn't by chance. It's a sign that you're searching for something bigger. That you're ready to fully awaken to your purpose. And I'm here to help you on this journey. So if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, subscribe now. Activate the notification bell, because every day I bring new content, always with powerful and transformative messages like the ones you just heard. And if these messages truly touched your heart, if you felt they arrived at the exact moment you needed them, I invite you to support this work. Consider becoming a channel member. With your support, I can continue bringing this quality content, these life-changing messages, to more and more people. You would not only be investing in your own spiritual growth, but also helping others find their answers and their path. Now I want to give you a challenge. Choose one of these 8 messages, the one that touched you the most, and for the next 7 days you will meditate on it every day. You will let it resonate in your mind and heart. You will observe how it manifests in your life, and then come back here and tell me what happened, because I guarantee that when you truly absorb a divine message, when you allow it to transform you from the inside out, miracles happen. Remember, Aquarius, you are not alone on this journey. God is with you. The universe is conspiring in your favor, and you have within you everything you need to live the extraordinary life that was destined for you. All you need to do is believe, to trust, to take the next step, and the next, and the next, until one day you look back and realize how far you've come, how much you've grown, how much you've transformed. These 8 messages are not just pretty words. They are spiritual truths that can completely revolutionize your life if you allow them. So I invite you not only to listen but to live them, to incorporate these truths into your daily life, to let them guide your decisions, to allow them to transform the way you see yourself and the way you see the world. Because when you do that, when you truly embrace who you were created to be, everything changes. Absolutely everything. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today, for opening your heart to receive these messages, for being part of this incredible community of spiritual seekers. I'll see you in the next video, with more divine messages and inspiration for your soul. Until then, shine brightly, Aquarius. The world needs your light.